On the MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How we doing, folks?
Jesus, you said that
Great.
in one go, one take.
I'm
Oh my fucking God!
Yeah,
Bravo.
First time
Small
for anything.
miracles, small miracles, small miracles. I'm doing fairly well. How are you all doing?
Doing great.
Like I said, it took a small ride, froze to death, but the bike's running real well. Got it back.
Colder air going through makes a bigger bang, you know.
Yeah, well, I was awake all night watching the superbike races. So,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. The fucking delay in the 600s. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it was.
Yeah.
No, and the site was screwed up because on mine, I don't know about anybody else's, it said the World Super Sport up next, and it would change races, but they would just say the World Super Sport up. You want it live or nothing?
Yeah.
I was getting the same thing on my feed, and
Yeah, you didn't know what the hell was going on.
So
I think I'm 3 hours later than you, though, so it wasn't midnight for me.
Yeah, you are 3 hours later. Oh no, where are you at? You're in Texas, you say?
No, California. It was supposed to come on
at
at 9, but I think it started about 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was asleep. I was like, I gotta record it.
Yeah.
And you know something like I cannot listen to James Tosland's voice.
Yeah, you and him have
on the comment. James Tosland is a very nice guy, but his commentary is just fucking right. It either puts me to sleep or just makes me want to take some cocaine or something just to get a bit of fucking excitement into life, right? But and stupid things like Manzi in the Super Sport 600 crashed. And he went, "Oh yes!" And you're like, "You're supposed to be a commentator. You're supposed to be like, oh no, right?" Did you know what I mean? I know what he meant, but he kind of said anyway.
Who's the old guy used to be in MotoGP used to do that? He used to go nuts.
MotoGP Jules, who was one of
Jules.
my
Oh my God!
He was class actually. He's still around actually. He's class. He loves his facts and figures. So he's a cool chap, but yeah. So I actually recorded it. Thought it was very smart. Then obviously the Super Sport race was delayed an hour and a half, or maybe 2 hours or so, and it fucking ran out. So I actually missed it. So I got the end of the Super Sport race and not the actual race because the TV timings didn't update according to the race. So I was like, "Well, fuck you," but. I did read on Saturday morning that the race was good, so I was like, okay, I'll watch James Tosland. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Buleg, I'm seriously impressed with Buleg, and you know, I do find it funny that it's a real kind of two fingers to Valentino Rossi in the VR46 Academy because they booted him out of it, you know, and he got out of.
Is he the one they booted? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. They booted Bulega, and then he went off into the World Super Bike calendar or kind of paddock. Had a little bit of a rough first year, but then got into Super Sport, and so even though he made a fucking balls of it in Sunday's races, you know, I think he's actually kind of legitimized himself now as a rider there in Superbike, you know, and I think it was really good to see it.
He did a good dash at the end.
Another fella then though that's like it must be in the fucking horrors is Johnny Ray. Like,
I felt sorry for you, bud.
Yeah, I like for me, I was just like going, you know, if Alex didn't win in the Super Sport or in the Super Pole race, you know, I'd be kind of saying, but like. The Kawasaki was up there. It was matching the Ducati on speed. They've definitely worked on something. Just like going, your man's booking the tail end Charlie, like Joe to me, they're just like, oh.
Alex said that they've got a lot more power this year on the Kawasaki compared to last year. And Johnny Ray, I mean,
they lifted the penalty.
Man, bad luck with the timing of leaving. I mean, I think if he would have stayed on the Kawasaki, you know, to be comfortable on that chassis and that bike, and then to get some extra horsepower, might have been his season.
Yeah, might have been. You
They
know, now
lifted the penalty for Kawasaki.
they did, but
And this is
it
what I
is
talk about. They shouldn't touch it because it would have evened itself out at the end. If they'd left it the same and then left the Ducati the same, they would have leveled out. Because now it seems to be even a little quicker than the Ducati.
it's not. It's definitely not quicker. It's definitely not quicker.
Damn close, but if it's not, it's one half dozen the other. I mean,
well, no. Like if you look at it coming out onto the straight now, and I know, being fair, right, the straight coming out onto the straight in Phillip Island, they're already on full gas, right? So the jump in performance in the stretch is not going to be as much as say coming out of a slower corner and then onto a straight for the acceleration, right?
Right.
So, but saying that, top end wise, there was a couple of situations that I was watching lows and the bike in front wasn't pulling, say, halfway or 3/4 of the way down the straight as it would normally pull a small bit as well with top speed. So they've definitely closed the gap, but I still can't help but feel, if you've just changed team because you feel that your current team were stagnant,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And now you're getting fucking beaten by the number 2 that was in your team and convincingly beaten. Now, Lowe's does go well around Phillip Island. That is just a note. He has won around there in Superbikes before. And Phillip Island is one of those out there tracks as well. That's not a real telltale sign of who's on it. But I just watching it, I was just like going in my head is like, Johnny's probably gone back to his thing, licking his wounds out to this after today's fall as well, and kind of going to myself, I'm a bit of a fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? Now it's an Irish thing to be thinking like that, in the way of like, oh shit, I shouldn't have. But maybe on other circuits now, I think it will be good. But all in all, I thought Superbikes was pretty entertaining. Now, saying that Phillip Island is the king of all fucking circuits, I don't give a shit what anyone says. It is epic.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
But they say they only break twice in Phillip Island.
No, that.
It really does flow. I mean, there's the Honda, and then what dropping down Lukey Heights are the only really 2 hard braking zones. I mean,
yeah. Look, it's a fantastic track, and the racing was, in my view, it was pretty good. I like handlebar to handlebar, fairing, bashing, and all, a bit of a kick and a punch on the bike. I don't mind that sort of racing. That's the racing I grew up with doing as well. If you didn't like the fella that was next to you, too close to you, give him a kick. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, but I suppose we're 2 weeks away now from MotoGP. This time 2 weeks, we will know the race winner of the first race.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Qatar, and I was quite surprised with Qatar because it didn't really live up to what I thought it was going to be. I was very annoyed, I'll actually call it, when Ducati brought absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? All Gigi in his talk of knew this and knew that and knew the other, and it was just like a fart in a spacesuit. Like, you know what I mean? It was just.
Bring something out, but it would not be the norm.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on under the fairings. Sometimes you don't see everything that they bring.
Yeah, yes and no. Look, I thought like they're well settled in their engine. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was really well settled before or at the end of the test in Sepang. Gigi himself was talking that he was going to bring out something that was new, and it didn't happen. And then I'm wondering, is there some reason why? But saying that,
maybe they're afraid to bring something out and look too good, and they'll get fined for it.
No.
Maybe they're holding their cards. They're already so far ahead. They'll save the big update for the second Aero update, and not give the other teams time to see what they've brought if it's something that's that good.
Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. I think it was interesting, but I think like Pecco looked good, and it's it's kind of frightening when he looks good on 2 tracks. You know what I mean? If he was struggling in Sepang and then came good in Qatar, you'd be kind of worried, okay, saying that he's got his shit together. But he's able to put the fast laps in, and like I really, really, really have to get across to people. I look at when I'm looking at someone's testing, I go on to MotoGP.com and I look at their actual test lap times. And I don't turn around and say, Pecco Bagnaia is going to win it because he did the fastest lap. I look at Pecco over the course of his day. And I see of the 60 laps that he did, I can see every single lap that he's done. And those are in the records. And that's where you build an idea of their pace.
The pattern. You're looking for a pattern in there. And if they have a strong pattern all the way through, then
So, for example, Pecco is in the 1 minute 52s. Jack Miller is in the 1 minute 53s to 54s. So there you're saying in Qatar, Pecco's pace looked way better and about a second to a second and a half faster than Jack. Do you know what I mean? So just to give people kind of an understanding, because and I know testing is testing, right? But there is no MotoGP rider on the final hour or 2 hours of a test is not going to bang in a soft tire and go for a headline. They're going to want to find out what that bike is going to do, especially when they go back there in 3 weeks' time.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's not about chasing the headlines, but looking at the pace. Pecco's pace looks good. Bastianini's looks good. What's his name?
And by the way, and with Pecco, before you go on past, with Pecco, he looks for that pattern first. He looks to get that race pace down first. So if you see him do a good race, a one lapper, or run, you see him do a lot of fast laps, he has the other down to a science. It made him so impressive there. Yeah.
Martin looks good as well. He was on average about 2/10 behind Pecco. Like nothing in it really. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And of course, there was no Morbidelli. Mark was good. Mark only did a fast stint towards the end, and people are saying, he was sandbag. I don't think he is. I think he's still struggling with it to ride it not like a Honda. And I think I'll still stand by what I said. It's going to take him 3 or 4 races to understand that Ducati, because it's far more complicated than people think. That's my view of it. You know what I mean? The whole ethos of decoding and getting rid of anything to do with Honda and then being able to ride a Ducati how it needs to be ridden.
Well, different bikes have really, really different riding styles. Different bikes want to be ridden differently. And then Superbike is a really good example this year when you see a guy that was real comfortable on a machine like Top Rack, and then he jumps over and all of a sudden, he's still fast, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't gelled with the machine. Same thing with Johnny, an incredible rider, but he hasn't gelled with the Yamaha. So Mark's going to take a second to get his bearings. What's frightening is when you see a guy jump straight away onto a different bike and just go fast, because that's a good indicator of signs to come. Yeah. Looking at the timesheets, though, 24 pages of numbers and squiggly lines, it's not the most interesting read, but there's a lot to be gained there. And when you look at the consistency of the race pace, it really gives you an indicator of where people at versus that single fast lap.
Exactly.
And what worries me about Marquez is he's still trying to get onto a rear wheel bias bike, because this whole time, this last couple of years, he's been trying to keep the bike on the track and keep traction underneath him more than the other riders. You know what I'm saying? So he's still
but I think Mark just has his own style, right, and tries to tailor the bike to suit him, right? Or the bike's company, sorry, I should say. Now there's 7 other riders out there, right?
Yeah.
He's not the most important, pedal in the box now. Do you know what I mean? He is you're going to have you're going to have my leftovers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you can't have every engineer run into Marquez to have him fix the
but
situation.
he's not. Ducati have no interest. And that's wrong to me to say. Ducati have an interest in him, but they have no interest in putting him in front of the likes of Pecco, Martin,
Right.
Bastianini. You know, they will smile and nod and do the PR thing. And look, Gigi has been very visible in the Mark garage, but he was very visible when Alex went in there as well. So I don't see that as any special attention or anything like that. I just think that that's Gigi being Gigi, right? I think his approach has been quite good. He hasn't thrown it down the road too much, which is good. It's also maybe bad in a way because he's not really finding his limits, if you know what I mean. But Mark is getting older now. He's war torn or damaged. Do you know what I mean? So he can't afford to be crashing as much this season. I think he's done well. I think he has outperformed Alex, if I'm very honest, which is, the main thing for him, really, is beat your teammate. I think
beat your teammate and your brother. Lowe said it best. He said, "I don't have a teammate this year, so I got to beat my brother."
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's like, I think if I was to put the satellite riders for Ducati in order, I think it's definitely Di Giannantonio. I think Mark would be in second. I think then it would be either very tight between Bezzecchi and Alex Marquez. I think Alex has had a bit of flair. So has Bezzecchi, but Gigi is the one, or Digi is the one that is really gelled with the 23, and I thought he wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Especially, like he had the setup on the 22, moving to the 23, and a new team, new engineer. Do you know what I mean? It was all kind of stacked a little bit against, but he seems to be, duck to water. It's just like I would think like he is a danger man next year, definitely, to give it to him at the start. Do you know what I mean? His confidence is up. He's in his heroes team. Do you know what I mean? It's all like as the Simpsons used to say, it's all working out Millhouse. Do you know what I mean? Everything is going in his favor. So for me, I don't know. I think Ducati. It's not going to be a Ducati Cup this year. I think there's going to be the first 3 spots could be a Ducati, but they're 3 fairly fast and legitimate riders in my view.
You don't think he's going to repeat the Giannantonio?
I think he is, but I don't think he's going to consistently do it. And I still think he needs that year of learning of how to deal with the pressure. It's kind of like Martin and even Pecco in his first years of dealing with the big boys. He will be.
But how long? Di Giannantonio's already been in there for 2 years.
2 years, yeah, but
he has to produce. I'm sorry, Jake.
I was
right with Jack. I said you better produce this year.
But he has already produced.
Freak. He got those 2 good finishes at the end of last year.
Let's put it that way.
And then he's riding a little bit high on that, and then he's got on a fully developed 23 right now. So the beginning of the season's gonna be his best chance to get those results before the 24s really start coming in. So. Yeah. Exactly. I think he has a chance right now at the start of the season. He's looking really good.
I think so too. And what I kind of mean in that, Jake, you've never fought for a race world title in the way of that, right? And that's the learning curve he now needs to go through, being under the pressure of not performance, of under the pressure of expectation, which is a very different thing.
You're right. I'm saying he needs the expectation. If I was writing his checkbook, I'd have the expectation that he's going to be more consistent this year after 2 years. I don't want to see it having 1 and then 5 races later he has something that shows up.
I would see him as going to be probably the 4th Ducati home, and I would have 8. That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's where I see him at the end of the year. That's the expectation of where I would put it, because you're going to have the likes. And sure, we talk about KTM. we're going to have the likes of Binder, who will definitely should be in the top 5 at the end of the season. You know, he's going to be a spoiler for the Ducati Cup, in my opinion, and I think, you know, it's now down to KTM. In my view, I think Brad needs to be consistently there, to keep himself into the. You know, he's going to go through, I think, a little bit of that same thing that DG is going to go through, is to the expectation of performance, and dealing with being high up in the championship, which he hasn't dealt with before. Do you know what I mean? And it's very different walking in there 10th place in the championship and walking in there 3rd place in the championship, because now at 10th place, you're kind of seeing how's your weekend going to go. Well, we'll see. Where you're in 3rd place, it's like,
yeah,
I think
you're right on the money there. So I was talking about with DG to have that, you know, expectation of being up there and at the front every, you know, weekend or every other, you know, to be up there. You're right.
What?
Yeah, he may respond well to that at the end of the year when the pressure was on him. You know, you're going to lose your job, and he actually started performing. So some guys that when they don't have any expectations on them, they do what they just do their job, and you really see their true character when the pressure is put on them. So maybe the expectations of Digi needing to perform will be good for him.
Yeah, and I think same with Binder. I think that the guy
I think Binder's a little bit of a different scenario, honestly. I think Binder's in a situation where he's better than the bike, and KTM knows it. And the pressure is actually on KTM to give him a machine that can be consistent and let him perform.
I would say I would agree with you, but KTM have already come out and they're like, we have the equipment to win the world title now.
Yeah, that was the old days, but now they're up there.
If they shut their mouth and just went, okay, but like they're now saying we have the equipment, we have this now, we're going to be able to fight for the championship. That's KTM saying it's over to you, buddy.
That's their slogan, race to win. They have to say that.
No. Their slogan is ready to race.
Ready to race, yeah.
Ready to race. So, but no, they came out this year and it came not just from Guidotti and them, it came from the higher ups as well. Like now I remember there was a series, I think it's on YouTube, but someone went to their factory, and this was in the middle of last year, and they were like, 2024 is our season. You know, that's our plan. We are going to win it in 20. How would you say? It was like this unbelievable. No, it wasn't Simon, but it was just this unbelievable certainty that they're going to win in 2024. And they've come out again. They've said it again, which is a little bit worrying because I don't think because they're looking at the pace, and again, people are going to be going on about like it's not just a snap judgment of what we're making. Looking at the pace of the two of them, they're in the 53s. Pecco is in the low 52s. Like that's a second. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I know, okay, the only thing that we don't know is what tires they were on and what fuel loads that they were having and whatever. But again, you know, when you look at their overall pace, and if people really want to, I will waste the time of my life and I will put all the results into an Excel file and get an average lap time for everyone. And then I'll be able to say, someone's pace real nerdy like, and say, someone's pace is this. And for those other channels listening, yes, that's a great video to do if you actually want to do it. I might watch it. But anyway,
you haven't seen the videos out there lately. It is ugly.
Yeah, I don't watch those.
I mean, it is ugly.
Yeah. So, are you saying in a sense, is KTM sandbagging? Are they holding back during these tests, or
what worries me a lot? Right, what really does worry me a lot is that they have, and this is actually one of the things that really does worry me. I think there's too many chefs in the kitchen with KTM. They've gone into the last day in Qatar and they hadn't decided their engine. Now, they did 6 days of testing in Sepang, right? And they couldn't decide their engine spec on that. They had to bring it to Qatar. I get verification and stuff, But what I actually think, and this is just my theory, and I was sitting thinking of this the other day, is that Danny Pedrosa has developed the KTM over the past few months. They did have Mika Kallio, but he was not up to Danny's level, right? Now they have Pol Espargaro also giving feedback. And then they have the 4 race riders, okay? I think they should just leave it with Danny and say, Danny says it's good. You know what I mean? And go with that. Because I think like day one in Qatar, it was a wasted day, right? Like they were I think they were like 1.8 seconds off where they ended up in day 2, right? And that's a lot of time to be gained just by cleaning up the track. So for me, you know, I would always be worrying that they're still comparing and not verifying engine parts or the engines. And there was 2 completely different engines in Qatar that they were still testing out, which is, again, is a worry. But for me, I think that there's a little bit too much or too many chefs in the kitchen. It should just be very simple, one line. Danny is the race rider, or is the test rider. You know what I mean? And go on what he's saying. He is the one with the experience.
I mean, he actually put the bike close to the podium in Jerez, right? This past year. So,
yeah.
You know.
Well, you do realize this, right? Danny Pedrosa did 2 races last year. 2. And he ended up with more points than Mir.
Right.
I don't know why balloons just went up in the background.
For Danny, he's
Are we
that good.
celebrating something?
Hey.
We celebrating Danny?
Yeah. So,
my cigarette.
it was just, but he ended up with more points than Johan Mir last year. And Johan Mir completed 9 or 10 races. So that just shows you his level. 2 races, and he, you know what I mean? So I think that's my worry with KTM. I think a little bit too confident. I didn't see anything major aerodynamically, which is also a worry for me as well, because it means that, like, you know, what they brought out in Valencia is very similar to what they're running now. It's kind of a Yamaha situation on aero.
Yeah.
So look, I guess we'll wait and see. Like, I think they'll be there or thereabouts, but I reckon they're about 4 to 5 tenths of a second behind Ducati. Honda, I think I fucking jinxed them with my kind of like a little bit of praise. I think they were listening to me. I think they said, okay, we don't need to push as hard. Now, look,
they can only go up. You know what I mean?
Huh?
They can only go up. They're like, you know.
Yeah, I said that already today to someone else. Is like it's only one direction they can go.
Well, yeah, they got it covered. They're at least consistent. They got the worst bike in MotoGP and the worst bike in World Superbike. You know,
but technically they're in pace wise. They're in the low 53s. Do you know what I mean? It's not actually that bad. It's just their fastest laps are bad.
There's something to be learned from the Qatar experience, though, and maybe from Texas last year. It seems the Honda does well when the grip isn't wonderful or the track conditions aren't great. So that's just something to remember.
Yeah, but that was the rider.
No track conditions. And you actually saw with KTM as well on the first day.
And it's such a weird track. They got that. They're the only ones that have it down.
Yeah. Well, they don't really. Do you know what I mean? Because it's normally down with Marquez. It's only Marquez and the Honda could go well around Coda, you know. So
no. Who else? The ones who just won Coda?
Rins.
Rins won it, yeah. But Rins did really well there on the Suzuki as well. So it's one of his good tracks. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, when you go there, he could probably ride it fast in a fucking wheelbarrow. Do you know what I mean? So probably faster than I could fucking drive it anyway. Yeah, but I don't think the Qatar test is a good reference to their pace. No, I still think they're maybe I think they're about the second in God honest truth. I think they're about a second off where they need to be. But to be fair, Mir was vomiting in his helmet on the second day. So he was never really going to do good.
Oh,
Now,
really?
I don't know. I don't know. Was it food poisoning or was it the fucking bike made him sick? But
that'll cut your. Jesus Christ.
So he didn't expect much out of him. Nakagami, again, I don't have a lot of faith in him for this season, if I'm very honest.
Marini.
Yeah. And then Marini, I don't think he did too bad. His pace isn't too bad, but again, look, it's slower than the rest, like, you know.
Now, odd question. I saw this right before we went on at one of the goofy Sport of 44 them bullshit sites, and it said that Honda, the HRC, the factory team, the manager changed over. They got rid of their manager.
No.
And then it's got another manager from internal from Honda that won he ran the Paris to Dakar race. I just saw it like 10 minutes before we went on, so that's why I was asking you.
Yeah, so they did change a program director.
Was that what
so he will have absolutely fucking nothing to do with what's going on. Okay. It's like it's one of these high level things in Japan saying you're the program manager for the MotoGP cycle. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's it. Do you know what I mean? He'll have absolutely zero input into it. And your man was program leader of the Dakar rally stuff, where did Honda finish in that? Exactly. Yeah, no one knows, right? So
you'd think they don't that the guy had won, like they were bringing this brand new team, and because what?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Well, that's
it's amazing.
It's good PR, I guess.
Yeah,
it's PR of making change. I am going to Google there now when Honda won the last Dakar rally. Anyone know?
1998.
I heard the bike is good. What the Africa Twin something?
African Twin is good. Yeah. I actually rode one of those. Yeah. So when did Honda left the Dakar rally in 2013?
21.
And they won a bike, and a bike won at 21, but they're
and 20
classic class. It was the classic class the Honda won in. That's what it's saying. I know. But look, yeah, I don't have too much faith in it. In this guy taking over, and it's like a mid. It's more of a management move more so than anything else, which is not really going to change too much.
The prior director went into the car industry. They went into the car side. It said, and then he went over to.
Yeah, I'd say they gave him his golf clubs too. I'd say,
there you go.
Yeah. Now you're going to the car department of where, like I was actually looking at that, a couple of weeks ago that there was a fella there that was the team principal of Ferrari Formula One, and now he's gone into like a powertrains job in some standard manufacturing. It's kind of gone like, whoa. Do you know what I mean? To go from like one of the topmost technology places to a standardized thing must be a bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah, that's like the guy did the new Coke,
Yeah, Yamaha.
There we go. That's our underdog.
I just put my hood up and I just hide.
They did better than Honda.
They will.
I don't know, man.
Nice.
You said something nice. You did. I don't know. Look, I think the engine performance looks good. But again, it's the same old situation. They can't switch the tires on, or if they do switch the tires on, they wear them out too fast. So they're far behind on the aero. They brought out some they bring out some little bits in the aero that were interesting, right? Where they took off, they ran a flatter side panel with a little bit of a hole in it to let out the heat from the exhaust. And they ran it without the downward ducts and with the downward ducts. You know, it's their aero is just in such an infancy. It just still staggers me and boggles my mind to say, okay, you're not a bad off financial company,
Right?
You know what I mean? It's not like you cannot afford to develop this stuff, but it's just that you don't know what you're doing. And maybe they brought in the person or the Italian company to do this, but it's like, for me, it's so far behind. It is worrying.
When you hire a company and they just basically copy what's out there and proven they are providing a service, but I mean, the name of the game is understanding and innovating, and that's not happening.
It's not, no, and it's a bit fucking weird. Like Joe, for the size of the company and the relationship that it has had with MotoGP, and like
they've always been good. It's the chassis design. I mean,
but they haven't built a good chassis since 2015. Let's be fair.
Really, you think so? It's been that long? Come on.
Yeah, the minute they changed the electronics, they could not get their chassis to work properly. Maybe the 2018 or the 2019 chassis was good.
Right. That's what I was saying. I thought it was the 2018 and 2019 were good, and then they started going downhill. Like
I think they actually used the 2018 and 2019. Actually, huh? I think they used a version of the 2018 and 2019. But like even since 2015 to 2024 is 9 years. They've made 2 good chassis.
I think they were chasing the wrong development path for a second. You know, Quado was really happy on the bike. He was really comfortable, and then they changed it up, and he got real unhappy real fast.
Yeah. Look, he did. They changed it, but it's just, I don't know. I think it's just like they're missing a whole section. Do you know what I mean? And it shows you now how important aero has become in the world of MotoGP. You know, Yamaha can make a bike that can go around the corner fast. They just can't make it go around the corner as fast with aero. Because they don't know and they don't have the aero. And as soon as they put heavy aero onto it, they won't have the power to push it down the straight anymore. So it's a killer cycle.
Yeah, I think they'll surpass Honda. I'll make a wager on that for anybody who wants to go in.
I'll take that bet with you, Jake.
Yeah, I knew you would.
Okay.
I'm not putting big money on it. But...
Yeah, I think you're. I still think Honda will finish ahead of him, and I'm a Yamaha man, so it fucking kills me to say it.
Oh man,
I still think like they should. Honda theoretically they should, right? Because I never said would it be Repsol Honda or would it be LCR Honda, right? So I'm a data person, right? 4 is more than 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said Honda should finish ahead of Yamaha. So points wise, I'm going to look at the end of the year. I go Honda manufacturer, Yamaha. No, I know, but I think.
Oh well, I should put that down. We got to have it as a rider.
No. Too late. Done. Just it.
You're the Yamaha man. Now see, Mac he's not a fanboy because he's a fan. He's an avid fan because he's tough on his on his brand. Fanboys, they believe in their bike even when it has square wheels.
Blind.
And they make excuses for every fucking thing. Where Mac doesn't. Mac will be like, "Damn Yamaha, got to get better. Got to get better. Them damn son of a bitches." Blah, blah, blah.
I'll fuck him out of it. Yeah. Well, look, that's just, but that maybe it's an Irish thing. I call it being real and honest with myself. That going into a race series and hoping that Yamaha would win. Of course, like every weekend, is there a chance?
But and like I say, Yamaha has stronger engineering than Honda has, and they always have.
I really don't know. Is that a right statement anymore? Right? Because
I feel like that Yamaha has always been a much better chassis manufacturer, where Honda has been a better engine manufacturer.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to aero, I think they both need help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you go for that. Yep.
And what I actually think, I think if I was to look at it, I think there is a philosophy there, and I now don't think Yamaha is any better than Ducati or than Honda, or Honda any better than Yamaha. And the reason I say this is because their methodology of building a bike is the exact same. They build the chassis first, or the engine first, the chassis, and then they go, let's stick some aero onto it. It's like a fucking idiot in one of these cars, right? And they're putting on these fucking wings and go faster stripes and all of this shit. And you're like, man, that is going to slow you down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, when I'm looking at, and then I look at the European builds, and you can see that they're going, okay, we need to get to 244 kilometers an hour at the end of the straight in thing. We need to have an engine that can give us 400 horsepower, just say, right? Do you know what I mean? That's what we need to be able to produce. To do that, we need a chassis that can handle 200. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, I think it's a whole bigger picture of, this is what we need to build a bike, and these are the key areas of the bike, and let's go build it. And I think the Japanese just have it at the moment slightly in the wrong order, or they're not taking, or they didn't see aero as such a big and valuable tool as it now is, in my opinion.
But you would think we're at an age where we have all these computer technology, like they can like input that information into like an algorithm where it kind of gives you like some kind of, guideline as to what the aero should look like to match the engine, to match the electronics, to match the chassis,
See that, but that's my point, right? Yamaha haven't a fucking clue of aero. So how are they going to get to the calculations of what they need to have good grip going around the corner at the end of the straight? They have a fucking front wing from 2 years ago.
Yeah. You say they're behind.
They have downward ducts that were there since 2021. Right. What innovation have you seen on a Yamaha bike in the past 2 years?
The camo livery.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And this is why I gave Honda kudos, is that they copied everyone, so they have an understanding.
Right?
Huh?
There's nothing wrong with copying. That's how that's how performance finds its own level.
Like you look at F1, right? Last year, Red Bull built a fucking car that won 18 out of 19 races, or whatever it was, right? Won 18 out of 19 races, but what they had a trick suspension method in it, right? Just what's called anti-dive, right? So they put the top wishbone of the suspension up higher because they were going for ground effect. What they were trying to get out of the car was that the car moving under braking or under acceleration. And they moved to push or pull rod suspensions and all of this stuff, right? But basically what it meant was that even when it braking hard, the car would not dip, or it would only slightly dip, so that they could keep the maximum amount of downforce generated from the underfloor aero, so they could brake deeper into the corners. Every team this year now, what have they done? They've copied exactly their formation, except for one team. They've copied that exact formation. Do you know?
It's funny you mentioned that too, Mac, because I mean that's kind of exactly what Ducati's doing this year, or has been doing, that I think maybe some of the other teams are actually missing out on. Is it's the ride height at the rear of the bike in combination with the aerodynamics that are getting the full effects of them. And the rear squatting device on the Honda, I've seen them playing with it and they have it. But that both the Yamaha and the Honda, I don't think their rear suspension adjustment is quite up to spec, and that's costing them as well.
Yeah, and you're very right there. And like the algorithm that Ducati have to get that arse to sit is better than anyone else's.
Mhm. Yeah.
Their mechanism for engaging it is again better than anyone else's. Like you will see Pecco, so before the braking marker or before his braking, flick the switch. Do you know what I mean? And hit the brakes, focus only on the corner, and drive it out. If you look at Aprilia, they flick it in the middle of the corner. So if you're banked right fucking over, you have to flick. Do you know what I mean? And it's all these things that seem to be worked on and worked out. But again, Yamaha, Honda, they were late to the party with this. They're a year of development alone, just say in the rear right eye device behind. Like remember, I think it was mid 21 that Yamaha brought in the rear right eye device.
Well,
I think the others had it.
If you look the whole thing in general, right? Ducati came in their first year, they got 9 podiums, right? They had on the podium 9 times. They're just a stronger engineering department, period. They always have been. They might have made a really bad mistake when they kept. It was their ego that kicked them in the balls with that carbon fiber chassis, the first one. But
yeah, but look, I think they figured their way out around things. But you know, I just think, yeah, I think the reason I think Yamaha will fall behind Honda is that they won't go and try things. They won't go and like. I would love to have seen Yamaha turn up in Valencia, not Valencia, say Crutchlow, to roll out of day one of testing in Sepang with a fucking exact copy of the Ducati Aero from last year. Just understand. So just make one set of fairings. If you fall, it's fuck this guy. Just get the data. 10 laps, get the data, bring it back in. You know, then try an Aprilia type of Aero.
Yeah.
And just go and see it, go and test, go and understand it. You know?
Yeah. I don't like concessions. They can stick it up a dog's butt. I don't think it's realistic in this case. But copying, I'm all for copying because that's what gets everything done. Like I say, they could copy the Ducati one week and the Aprilia the next. They can hammer that shit out pretty quick.
They can. Like it's only a set of carbon fiber. It's only a set of molds. Okay, it might cost €5,000 or €6,000 or whatever a set and to build. But again,
everybody's on the level playing field. It's not like everybody's cheating, you know.
But when a brake disc costs $10,000 or a set of forks costs $10,000, you know, $5,000 or $6,000 on a set of fairings isn't too bad, you know. I suppose we talk about Aprilia. Very fucking weird situation going on there. Really, really weird.
It seems like they're going a different direction.
I think it seems though that all of them are going different directions. It's like a Honda situation.
Not all of them. I think it's actually split between Espargaro and the other 3, to be fair. I think if Ollie was actually on a 23 Aprilia, he'd be a lot faster than he is on the 24. And the same thing for Maverick. I think Espargaro is the only one that's actually gelling with the 24.
Well, so let's talk about it. So Espargaro's pace looks good, and he's on a full-blown 24. So he's all the aero and dangly bits. And he seems okay on pace. He doesn't seem electric, I will be honest. He has 1 or 2 fast laps. But his pace-wise, he's thereabouts. I would class him right now. I would class him behind Binder on pace, though. Maverick does not like the new Batmobile style rear end, and he has gone back to the 23 spec rear end. So something within that, and like there is a lot going on there, right? To be fair,
you don't know if it's Maverick or not. Maverick always seems to be flighty, you know,
right?
On that same number, yeah. You know.
He's very sensitive.
Yeah, and like you wouldn't have thought that that would have had so much of an effect. It would have a bit, but so much. And now he's gone back to. So the front half is 24 and the rear half is 23. So he's let's call him hybrid, right? Yeah. You have Raul, who's on a full spec 23, which I still don't understand. You know, why have 3 bikes on a 24 and 1 bike on a 23? It's not parts, it's not problems. It cannot be put the fucking 24 aero on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The mountings are the same. The bike hasn't drastically changed where the engine is fucking 6 inches forward or whatever, right? So he's on a full-blown 23 and will be till mid-year minimum. So if they're even talking about, but he has a 24 engine, let's just be fair.
Right.
So he's kind of hybrid. And then Miguel Oliveira, and I had a bit of a conversation in the group with someone there yesterday about it. I don't know, he just doesn't seem to be at the races. You know, and the first thing I got from a person was that it's in his contract that he has to test for Aprilia. So he's doing all the testing and the others are not doing the testing, which is complete horseshit, right? They're all testing.
Yeah.
Right? You know, you're not going to send them...
Except for Fernandez.
Yeah.
Except for Fernandez, he's testing the 24 engine with the 23 chassis to see will that work,
Yeah.
you know, or whatever. 23 aero.
You're not asking your partner, hey, how can I use that? How is it? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Secondly, you know, the next quote from the person was, he's made a 2-year jump on specs of bikes, and it's just taking him extra time to get used to it. And I just hit back with, there was 2 occasions last year he tested the 2023 spec bike and he admitted that it was faster. So it's not that he's never tried the 23. Do you know what I mean? So he has
tried the 23 and he really liked it.
it.
And in fact, after he rode the 23, it seemed like he didn't want to ride the 22 anymore.
Exactly. And then I just said, look, I think you're just making up excuses. Now, I personally like Miguel Oliveira, so it's not that I'm a hater. I personally actually think he's a really good rider. I also know for a fact he is a very, very good person to his fans in Portugal. Really, really nice. I know a good few people that have met him around Portimao, and he's had, how would I say, he's not just rushed them away and told them fuck off. Do you know what I mean? He's stayed there and he's talked to them. And as a fan, I've seen it before in Formula One where I was in Silverstone, and do you remember Nico Rosberg?
Yeah.
He won the championship, and I met him as a Mercedes driver in there, and he had to go. There was fans lining up in the middle of the paddock to get signatures, and he stayed there. And as a world, just as he was battling for the world championship that year with Lewis, he stayed there and he signed every single autograph for the fans. And there was maybe a batch of 10 of them that came up to him, but your one who minds him, keeps him on schedule, was dragging him away. And he said, I will be back here in 1 hour. I need to go in and do this presentation or whatever, fucking Joe, meet and greet things with the thing. And he came back out and he signed those fans
Really?
for
That's
him.
cool.
And he talked to them as a person, not just a fucking Formula One driver. And I just thought it just left a thing in my mind. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what a cool guy. Do you know what I mean? He didn't have to. He was in Lewis Hamilton's backyard at the time, which is Silverstone. Do you know what I mean? He was Hamilton's home race. He could have been a prick and just said fuck you and walked away, but he didn't. He just stayed there, signed every fan's thing, made a lot of people's day. Do you know what I mean? Very, very simple. And Oliveira is very much so like that. So for me, he gets a lot of kudos because he does see the importance of MotoGP fans spending their dollars coming to see a race or meeting him and whatever. Of course, he can have his moments, but all in all, I think overall he's a good guy. I'm just, in my own mind, worried that last year had an awful effect on him. Do you know what I mean? He had he was a fucking target of everyone last year. Do you know what I mean? And he's battered and bruised and you know,
bad for him.
Yeah.
If you're getting to that age,
I'm not
and
going
you're
on a
getting
plane
battered,
with him, that's for sure.
huh?
I'm not going on a plane with him, that's for sure.
If he's on the plane, you're getting off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get up, please. Yeah. But look, but it seems now. I do believe he's on the same spec as Aleix, So where I'm going with this is that, okay, 50% of the team is in a different direction. Do you know what I mean? To where they're working on, and it's just, I kind of wish Aprilia would have the Ducati stance of saying, like, Martin, I don't like the new aero. Ducati, persist. Do you know what I mean? And
Learn to like it.
Learn to like it. And like you could see with Aprilia, and I'm not sure if you saw one of my photos, the bottoms, he's obviously having Maverick is obviously having a problem where it comes up from the scoop underneath the swing arm, and it comes up through there, and then it energizes the diffuser at the back of the bike. Because one of the pictures, and I'll send it on to you later on, one of the pictures you can see that they actually halved the size of the diffuser. Show the way the diffuser's cutout is, like, obviously like you rolled a snowball or a football up through a mud patch. You know what I mean? There's like there's a groove there, but they half that groove. So it kind of tells me that the diffuser was creating too much downforce for Mavericks. And then eventually they just completely put on a 23 one, which had no diffuser, and he's happy as a pig in shit. So it's something to do with the energizing that rear diffuser that seems to be bugging Maverick. And it's just something I just find weird that he's not being told to persist with the 24. Do you know what I mean? Go with the 23. Learn to like the 24. It's there for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
The engineer put all that work in it. You think they turn and say, "Get your little ass on that bike again."
Yeah, but like, if by chance now, for example, Oliveira and Espargaro do start passing Maverick, right? And they're like, "Yeah, we more downforce. We can feel the bike or generate whatever," and he's so sensitive that he doesn't like it. He's fucking himself, really. Do you know what I mean? Because
that's a lot of extra work trying to run two different setups.
Well, it's already made. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
So, but it's like
there would be extra work involved.
Gone are the days, and I think this is what I really liked about Honda. When they got to Sepang, there was no 23 bike, there was no hybrid bike. It was their 24 bike, and that's what they were going with. You know what I mean? Learn to love it, ride the wheels off it, try to get your baseline. And
that's they were scared of the other ones. The riders were scared of the 23s and the 22s. They wouldn't go on.
Yeah, but it shows their focus.
I think Honda has gone a completely different direction, and there's nothing, there's nothing. They've changed direction, and now why bring a bike that has nothing to do with the new bike that they've completely hit the reset button, which is a good thing for them, and they're already better off. So more potential.
Yeah, like definitely. I said, it can only go up. It's the throw shit on the wall kind of theory. Just keep throwing shit at it, and eventually hope something sticks.
I like their mindset. I think they, like you said, had the potential to make the most out of this year. But my thing is, as a I'm not a rider. I'm not a MotoGP rider, but I thought their job is to understand the bike and the track and put that together and win. So when I'm giving you a new bike that it should be performing well, and you say, no, let's revert back to the old way of doing it. That's kind of like, I feel like you're working backwards, right? Like you're taking something that is old and trying to make it work in a new, everybody's developing. So you got to keep rolling. You got to keep going and refine it. If you're reverting back, isn't that, going backwards?
Yeah, and look, I think we gone through years where you could get away with running 2018's bike in 2019, right? But the progression and understanding of aero and all of this, especially with the European manufacturers, has realistically made that running a last year's bike is now going to be a disadvantage from 3 or 4 races into the season. We always know that, if they have data from last year's bikes, getting to the data from the new year's bikes is always going to be a couple of races before things settle down. That's where you can make hay. But with the championship now being so long and so many races, that advantage is actually smaller and smaller. If you get me, so
Well,
I don't know.
CB saying sometimes they bring new parts and the guys don't want to use them, they want to revert back, but it's very dependent upon the riders to assess the parts and determine if they're working in the right direction. So sometimes they bring something that's new and it is not making the bike better, and it is better for them to take it off and change it and bring a better new part to move forward. So it's a careful balance, it's not like a car where you bolt it on and it's the driver's 10%, the car's 90%, and on a motorcycle it's 50-50. So you have to make sure
I reckon though that's changed.
Can use it.
I reckon though that's changed in the past 2 years or so.
Still more 70-30. It used to be 70-30. Now it's down to 50-50. Mac.
No, I would.
Well, definitely more dependent.
More difference than the rider still makes the difference now.
More of a difference for a rider than a driver. I
don't
want to put numbers on it, honestly, but definitely more from a rider.
Yeah. I would know. I think. Yeah. I don't know. I think. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I think you can put a slower rider on a Ducati and he'll get more results than a fast rider on a Honda.
No, but you're going to extremes because Honda's.
I'm just telling the truth, man.
We look at the slowest Ducati and then compare their results to the fastest Honda at the end of the year, and the question will be answered, right?
Who's the slowest, Alex?
Let's have a look right now.
I think so.
Okay.
Maybe Morbo, I don't know if he's the slowest, but his season might
Morbidelli. There you go.
If he doesn't pull his physical conditioning together.
And he's fresh. So Franco and Marini, they're newly on new bikes. So
okay, so
that will be. But they're both good riders. They're not the slowest guy. I mean, who's the slowest guy on a duck? I mean,
last year, oh Jesus,
championship.
It's
a tough call, you know what I mean? Like this time last year, you would have said DG could have been one of them,
So, okay, we will not look at Michele Pirro. So the last person home on a Ducati last year. That what we're looking at?
Yeah.
Bastianini.
Wow.
Okay, he missed half the season. Right.
Yeah, that's a tough call. That's off. Try somebody else.
Gresini rider Fabio Di Gianantonio, 12th place. And to be fair, his 12th place, he had 151 points, which is not bad, to be fair. So where's Honda? The next Honda was Marc Marquez. Okay, so he's no longer in Honda, right? So where was the next Honda? The next Honda was Taka Nakagami, 56 points.
I knew it was Taka.
Honda was such a pig. I mean, that's really an extreme.
Alex Rins, 54. No, Alex Rins was out for half the season as well. Joan Mir, 26 points. Now, Joan Mir is a world champion. Now, look, I think where the real proof in the pudding is where does Rins end up this year on the Yamaha? Can he beat? How many races did he miss? Whatever. I'll do the maths and I'll update you privately. That's where I suppose my point is that
he's gonna. I'll tell you, he's gonna run close.
But what I mean with the Ducati, I think it is starting to with aero, especially the aero race now, has tilted it that it's more so that the bike is now more important, as in what bike you are on. Like if you look at over the 20 really in the history of MotoGP, right? It used to be like, look at Rossi on the Honda. Do you know what I mean? He was the difference, right? Because there was 5 or 6 Hondas out there, or whatever there was, you know, and he was pissing all over them, right? Now, I will say that the ones that are favorites to win every race are a Ducati or a KTM or an Aprilia. Do you know what I mean? Those are the ones that are in the mix.
I think what is gone is more like a guy like Marquez who takes the crap bike, rides around it, and still wins.
No, like the Honda when Rossi was on it, for example, that was a good bike. He was just fucking excellent.
Oh, the RC, the 2000, the 211.
Yeah, even the bike. Yeah. Even the bike that Stoner won the championship on, that was an amazing Honda. So really, the Honda downfall started about the time they started bolting wings and rear squat devices.
It started going downhill at 2000 it started to go downhill with
2016.
It started to go down right from the get-go from Marquez. Then it went 2015 is when they say that thing started to really take a shit.
2017. I did the analysis on it. You remember?
It was 17. Most people say 15, but it's 17. Okay, I can see that.
17. I always judge a bike by the second rider home.
The second rider. I thought the 2015 is when it really the second rider took it back.
No, Danny was still. I think 2017 was Danny's last win.
Yeah, but the base bike was crap anyway. You know what I mean? So
no, I don't think so. I think the base guts of it was okay. I don't think it was a spectacular bike, but I don't think it was bad. Marquez was the difference, and this is just my opinion. I might be wrong in it, but I think that it is going the way of Formula One, where it's
MotoGP is supposed to be the Formula One of motorcycles.
Yeah, but it's not. It's like if you look at last year, for example, prime example, like one car winning 18 out of 19 races. Do you know what I mean? It's a race for second. Do you know what I mean?
You don't want it that bad. You know what I mean? You don't want it.
But again, that's my point, right? It's like you can have 21 other of the best drivers in the world, and no one can get near this person, right? Where it was different on the with. Now, I will also add in now for those other ones going, yeah, well, like, you know, his teammate should be the same. His teammate finished second in the championship. Okay. So it was a 1-2, right? So the car was fucking good, right? Really good, right? Whereas when you were looking at it in say the Rossi era, you know, there was different people in second place. So it wasn't a Repsol Honda 1-2.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know what I mean? And I can tell you this for a fact. Sergio Perez is not as strong as a driver as Max Verstappen. Okay, so totally. it is the as Max Verstappen, who's the Formula One world champion.
Oh yeah.
So it is like Rossi and a teammate in those years where his teammate wasn't that strong, but it just shows you that Sergio finishing second in the championship proved how good that car was, and it's all about that car. Do you know what I mean? And that's my fear with MotoGP, and especially with Aero being so important now, that it becomes more about the bike you have rather than the person riding it.
Yeah.
And like if you put so again, like Mark on a Honda,
I think you're overextending it. What did the other guy say? We had in here. They said it's long, and I swear I'm going to go with my cousin too. He said as long as the bike's standing up, as long as that thing has to lean to turn, it will never become like into Formula One car.
But we're not talking about it coming into a Formula One car. But we're talking that the bikes are now getting so sensitive to the aero
it'll never turn into where the rider becomes, you know.
But Jay, I'm sorry, Jay, but you're wrong because it's already started to happen. Unless you're on a Ducati,
different things.
Unless you're on a Ducati right now.
Right? What I'm saying is, you're assuming it's going to be all rider. It's not going to be all bike in a year.
I'm not saying no.
Jay, what he's saying? What he's saying is
it was 70-30 in your own words. It was 70% rider to 30% bike.
Right.
You've agreed that it's already now down to 50%.
Yeah.
And as aero gets better and better, it might get to 60-40.
And it's not just aero; it's electronics too. You got to remember that how fast has Yama bike gotten?
Right.
They took the rider off of it. There is no rider, and that bike is how close to human lap times now?
It was like 3 seconds or 4 seconds off an hour.
Yeah, when it gets to the point where the electronics are so advanced, Max got a point, man. It's going to become, there will be a day where it becomes 1090, just like Formula One. I mean, when you can take the damn rider off the bike and the bike can ride itself, yeah, we are officially there.
You do that with a car. I mean, yeah, you can do it, but it's you're losing the point. The point is, as long as I'm saying there's a much more of a finite barrier. You're going to hit a wall way sooner with this thing standing. As long as it has to stand straight up in the air, the turn, it has to lean, you're going to run into a wall way before there's something that's
but that wall is getting lower and lower and lower every fucking day. That's our point.
As long as it has to change direction and come from one wall to one side to the other, you're going to have that same problem.
No, let's go back into the conversation where we said at the start, and which you agreed with, that it was 70-30
at that point.
Right, 70-30, that it was 70% bike, 30 or 70% rider, 30% bike.
So don't
okay, but even with that, it is there is no doubt in the fact that if you put a slow rider onto a Ducati or a slower rider, say a non-alien,
right?
Okay, Luca Marini, right? Because we all agree he's not an alien, right?
All right.
Let's see where Luca ends up at the end of this year compared to last year. And I can tell you this right now, before we go any further. Luca Marini finished 8th place last year.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? 8th place last year, 201 points.
There's no other Ducati.
On a Ducati.
And now where is he?
He's on a Honda.
The Honda's a pig. What do you expect?
That's my point.
What do you want? It's a pig. It oinks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you've just proven my point. If you take an average rider who will finish 8th in the championship on a Ducati, and then you put him onto a Honda, it's about the bike.
Well, in that extremes, I mean, I could run a tricycle and say it's the same thing. I mean, you're going apples and oranges, though. You're going to such extremes.
So it should be more rider than bike, is what you're saying.
It should be more rider than bike. Well, yeah. My thing is, if it's close, as a tech head, I can say 70% bike and 30% rider and be fine with it.
It should be more about the rider and less about the machine. That's not MotoGP. It is like Formula One, where it is a technology-based championship. Exactly. You want to see it all about the rider? Switch over to a cup championship. Exactly. Put everyone on the same damn bike. And then all of a sudden, it's the rider.
Right.
Take the traction control off. All of a sudden, it's about the rider.
Right. I mean, I can see that any other class except for MotoGP. Okay, I'm all with you to have all rider. Okay, but with MotoGP,
you should check out some British Superbike, by the way.
No, I'm the one. I love tech. I love the tech. Okay, so I'm the MotoGP guy that says throw the shit on as long as it's it's not running on as long as it has to lean, as long as you don't have to it doesn't skid this way to make a turn with gyroscopes. Go for it, or it doesn't have a second engine, or God forbid, electric bikes or
hybrid
assist. Yes,
I don't think
the day they put out electric hybrid bikes is the day I stopped watching. Right then and there.
I have to agree with you, Jake. I like the technology because I feel like it trickles down to the road bikes a little bit. I don't know the percentage on it, but I like the R1 and the settings, the engine brake, the whatever, yada yada yada.
Most people Aero and all the show, all the clips.
But before we go any further, right? Those engine braking and things, they're not new tech.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Like I have a quick shifter on a 1997 Aprilia RS 250.
Mm-hmm.
Right? those sort of technologies, they're not new technologies. They're not advances and whatever. The point that we're saying here, right, is that it comes to a point where things are more about a bike than the actual riders. And what we're saying here is not about technology. It's fuck all to do with tech. It's the simple question that a bike, it comes more about a bike than a rider. And if you're and let me finish, Jake.
Yeah.
If you're a slower rider, Marini, on a Ducati, and you finish 8th in the championship,
Right.
and you move to Honda, and you end up in 15th or 16th position, are you a good rider?
I said that's kind of hard to tell though, because the Honda is so far behind the Ducati. That particular,
But that's the point. That is the whole point of it. Like nowadays,
I see what you're saying. You're saying nowadays the bike
is more
the
important.
be so much different, between a good
bike is the bike is now the difference rather than the rider. So
right.
all those years of Marquez making the Honda look good
right, is gone.
Well, is gone. And that's the era that we're pushing into.
Actually. Yeah.
Which we don't want, because we want. Well, I personally,
you want more rider. I want more. I want more.
It's not. It's. I follow the rider, not the bike. Right.
Right. I follow the bike. I do. I follow both. I follow the bike very much.
No, but 90% of people that will go to a motorbike race will go to see riders race and their favorite rider race, not their favorite brand.
I don't know. They keep saying it's going more and more. It's gone.
Just have a look at the t-shirts. Just have a look at the t-shirts in the merchandise stands, and you'll see.
Yeah, all the old timers and the people who watch it a long time. Yeah, they go to the rider. But
have you been to a MotoGP race?
No. Oh, I've been to a lot of races, but they weren't MotoGP.
Have you been to a MotoGP race?
No.
Have a look at the merchandise stands in a MotoGP race. You'll
I see a big split. I see guys that are fanatical about individual riders, and those people they're fanatical. But then I see a lot of fanboys too. I see a lot of people there with their Yamaha crew, with their Honda crew, and then there's the Harley guys. They don't even have a freaking horse in the race. They're there as the Harley crew. They're about the brand.
The tools to fix their bike.
So maybe
it goes both ways, Mac. It totally goes. Goes both ways.
I don't know. I think, look, maybe just my experience from races in Europe. Yes, you do have the odd person walking around in a Yamaha top. Just say maybe like out of the 100,000 people there, maybe you might see 20, 30, 40, 50 people. But it's normally in their riders' colors is what they're in now. Riders' colors would be, Joe, like, what was the last race it was at? Catalonia. It was Rossi's last year. So Catalonia. Obviously, because it was a Rossi weekend, it was a lot of orange, especially to piss Marc Marquez fans off, right? Or yellow, sorry, to piss a lot of Marc Marquez fans off. But, like, you would see the pictures next to Vinales' bike or Joe Rossi's bike or whatever, and the queues outside the bikes of their favorite riders used to be just fucking outrageous. And then obviously you'd have the people in their colors. But walking down through the stands, very rare would you see a Honda stand or a Yamaha stand for merch. It would always be riders. Yeah. And you'd even see British super sport riders. Our British Superbike riders.
Mac, when you go to your dealer, the next time you go to your dealer, ask them what the people talk about when they talk about racing, and they'll all say, "Oh, the casual rider or the guy that's just looking at bikes. Oh, the shapeshifters when they're moving, they know that name shapeshifter." Then they talk about that and all the other fins, and they think it's cool. It looks like a spaceship.
What bike has the shapeshifter that's on the road?
No, they don't. But they like when they're saying they see it on the MotoGP and they're like, "Oh, it's neat." That has this and has that, and and they like the.
I don't know. Look. I think I will be very honest, right? I've never heard anyone in circles that I hang around in, Joe, like motorbikes in Ireland would be a very common thing. Do you know what I mean? In the way of road racing, I suppose it's different. Motorbike racing in Ireland would be very.
And you have
different
a lot more seasoned riders than we do.
But we would, yeah. So no one would turn around and say, "I want to be like a fucking MotoGP rider on my shapeshifter with my aero." Or they just don't talk like that. And if they did, someone would slap them. Do you know what I mean? Straight away, it would be like, "Stop talking shit."
Yeah, I feel like that's deceptive because Dorna, they're pushing riders. You know, Mark Marquez. How often have we seen Mark is going to Ducati? Mark is doing this, but in essence, what you're saying is true that it's more of the bike than the rider. So it's like, what are we really watching here? It's not really the rider, it's the bike. So, but I will say, if Marquez does well this year,
but
then
the is in there enough for at least the win. I mean, it does affect the win. I mean, if you have a 70-30 bike, the rider, right? It's 70% bike. The 30% is still enough to make the
difference.
Make a difference out. Yeah.
I don't know, but my point, Jake, is that it's like every year.
See this year, if Binder or Spargaro or Quado actually wins the race, then maybe the rider still can make a difference. But
the rider can
do a Ducati Cup. I think Mac's point becomes pretty evident.
Hey, well, totally off this again because we're going all the time. KTM, what's going on with the carbon fiber chassis with the KTM and the Aprilia? Has anything been said?
Yeah, they've been running the carbon fiber chassis since last year for KTM.
But anything new, exciting? I mean, the
black.
It seems to go in and out. Like they tried it and then they stop, and then they come back and they try it.
Aprilia tried it, and I think they maybe found it like the first child. They tried it and they didn't really like it, and they said that they'd stop. Aprilia. Yeah, Aprilia tried it. It's not ready. There's an awful lot to go with it. But KTM have been using it solid in the factory team, and I know it's gone into gas this year as well. So they will be running it. But like saying that, even a carbon fiber chassis, like one even fucking tip over, and that thing needs to be inspected. Oh my
God, yeah.
Or it probably needs to be inspected after every session for fatigue.
Yeah, I would think even with the carbon fiber, Christ, you could almost get out of shape. The hard your bike rear grabs and
it can crack.
Get a crack in there. Yeah.
Like you're putting an awful lot of faith in someone with a that could get high on glue by fucking putting the resin into it. It's an awful lot of faith to be putting in someone. Now saying that, look. They've been putting faith in carbon fiber swing arms for years. So I think for the riders, I don't think it's too much. But again, it's like it's a very fucking expensive way to go racing. Do you know what I mean? Cracking one of those, getting the inspection process for those must be incredible compared to an aluminium, or in your case, aluminum.
The manufacturing process on them is pretty damn expensive too. I guess putting them in the oven is actually, it's like wind tunnel time. Just renting the onion to bake your carbon fiber is prohibitively expensive, and that's.
No, I would reckon they have an autoclave already in there. Do you know what I mean? KTM would have an autoclave, I would presume, because they make the carbon swing arm, but also the bodywork is carbon as well, so I would think they would already have one. But you're right, it is an expensive process and it's a vigorous testing process just for the quality checks alone. See some of the shit that they do in Formula 1 if you have interest in it. I think and
you got to get it right the first time. You can't really go back and modify it.
No. There's no do-overs either. Do you know what I mean? And if she's cracked, like she's gone, and like a chassis could, then an aluminium chassis could cost maybe 12 or 15 grand or 20 grand or 30 grand. They have to be up much higher, I would think, with the amount of time testing, making sure those slugs that are put into it that hold on the important bits are solid then as well, and they don't break, and like they all have to be checked after every race and or even session, I would think. Like it's cool, but it's an expensive way to go racing.
Yeah. Did they? I wonder if they do the whatchamacallit tech for the they put it in the cold and it's minus 278 degrees below zero. Like they do with the blocks, and it takes all the air out of the block out of the metal. I wonder if they do that with the aluminum. I think it's too. I guess it would be too soft. Aluminum.
I think they're using vacuum casting on a lot of stuff these days, where they actually just
Cryotech.
They suck all the air out of the mold before they inject it.
Yeah, it's called cryotech. They take it down to negative 278 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. I think that was, and it takes the air out of them. And you got to start with good metal, because if you start with shit metal, it'll actually suck enough air out of that it distorts it. So
yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's pretty intense just for an aluminium chassis, but carbon is just a whole nother level.
I had something else I had bounced around my head. There's so much room up there. What are you guys thinking about next year? Fabio is going to be free, right?
Majority of riders are going to be free.
Yeah, right. What am I saying? Do you think he's going to? Do you think? I think Honda's going to come out there with a huge paycheck for him.
Yeah,
I think they're going to go back to their old ways of going.
Well, I'd put it to you this way, right? If Yamaha beat Honda, would you go there?
No.
So you've answered your own question there, kid.
Yeah.
So,
Fabio's
that one guy that might do it for the money.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know though. I think
he
Fabio
really wants to win, but I think
his
spending habits have made his bank account smaller than other guys.
Yes,
and
I noticed that too.
He might do it for the
It's
money.
huge. I mean,
no, I think I reckon he's on his way to Aprilia. I don't know if
Aprilia could afford him.
I think
Aprilia can afford his lifestyle.
Yeah, I don't know. The money is not going to be a problem there to get. If Aprilia realize that they don't have the alien that they think they have currently, they do think they have aliens, lads. Let's be fair, right? Because they kept on to people that they shouldn't have.
You're too nice.
So if they soon realize that they don't have that alien, it will come in that's saying, okay, we need to get an alien. And I think there's no problem with getting the few bob together to get an alien. Is he going to get Yamaha style money? No. Right. And this has been happening for the past 5 or 6, well, I'd say 10 years even. The riders aren't not getting paid the Rossi, Lorenzo, Marquez money anymore. Right. And that is just a fact. There is no 20 and 30 million deals going around the place anymore. And even look at Marc Marquez. He got out of a deal. He's probably just getting paid enough to cover his fucking hotels, right? And his food, right? So, to be fair and honest, right? So, is he going to get the major? Is Fabio going to get a new deal like he's got on Yamaha? No, they always, and I'd say his manager would even expect that it's going to be lower this season, right? His people still are not yet doubting his talent, which is a good thing, right? That keeps his value up. But I think he's going to be more affordable to more factories than he ever was. And I think he will fit perfectly on the Aprilia. I think it'll suit his riding style.
Yeah.
Because remember, if he changes, just say to a Ducati, has to be ridden completely different to a Yamaha, where I think the Aprilia is a hybrid between a Yamaha and a Ducati. And that's its major weakness, if you get me, is that it has to run wider lines. Do you know what I mean? It has to keep the corner speed up because it doesn't have the grunt out of the corners. So
I think the Ducati likes to be ridden really smoothly, but still likes to run the V line. So I think Quado would actually get on with it just fine.
If you do look at Martin and Pecco runs the wide line. And Martin runs the
sharper line.
Yeah, it wouldn't be necessarily a V line. Now Pecco can carry the speed, but where it fucks Pecco then is that in a dogfight he can't keep the speed if someone is in front of him, especially Jorge Martin.
That's his weakness. Yep.
And yeah, look,
And when a push comes to shove, I think Martin can outrun Pecco.
yes, but
One lap wonder, he seems to be able to get more speed, raw speed.
yeah, well, look, everyone knows that his raw speed. I wouldn't necessarily call it raw speed. He has this stoner-esque thing of where he can just go out and go bang, and it's just like lap one, switch on, go. And not a lot of riders that I've ever seen have that lap one bang. Do you know what I mean? Marquez did have it for a season or two, but then he started crashing and having stupid fucking offs or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But like Stoner and Martin would be very same. Bang, lap one, they can do it from a race. Where others are kind of thinking, oh, my tire is cold, I need to give it a couple of laps. And I always remember Biaggi when he moved from MotoGP into Superbike. And you'd look at his starts, and the starts were shit. A complete shit bollocks. Like, you're like, he's going backwards, and 5 laps later, he'd be up front. Do you know what I mean? And you're just like, it's just trained into his psychology. Give the bike some time to warm up, and then push. And Pecco has that mentality as well. I'll push after 3 or 4 laps. The only time he really didn't do it was Valencia this year, where he just fucking went for it. And it's like, if I crash, I crash. Do you know what I mean? That's just my opinion. But when he runs his lines, then he's a wider arcing line compared to Martin.
I remember when they used to stand beside the bike, run, and then jump on the bike.
Those were the days, boy. Those are the days.
You know, if he didn't start
these days they hit a button and they drop the butt down for him, so they barely even have to kick their legs over.
Do you know, actually, funny fact for you,
and by the way, when you said he was stoner-esque, he has a stoner-esque. I thought you were going to say a stoner-esque wine. Like,
he's a whinge too. Yes, he is. But actually, just something that you give you a laugh now, right? And you will, Joe. It's one of these things that you'll never really notice it, but once you've been told about this, you will never be able to unnotice this.
Oh, don't ruin it for me then.
Right. So when Enea Bastianini comes out of the garage to get on the bike, watch the mechanic just before he gets on the bike, because he activates the lowering device on the bike and he pushes the bike down, so the bike is completely flat, so that he can
is crazy. So I saw that one day. That's crazy. That I was like, man, oh wow,
he's that small that he can't take over.
Jeez.
So, and it was actually the reason that I first saw is that he got his foot caught in the Stegosaurus wings.
I saw that.
Jake, you and your fucking arrow, Jake, you fucker. So yeah, so
I keep thinking of like Wile E. Coyote, and they hit the button, and he just flies off. You know,
that's it. It goes the other way. But yeah, I think overall, I think the test was really good. I think we saw as well, just on the test, I think we saw the true pace of Acosta. I was actually quite impressed. Again, I was looking at his lap times. All right, he wasn't that fast in the order of people, but he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad at all. I'll give it to him. You know, he wrote the headlines in Sepang. He had a lot of test days in Sepang, to be fair. You know what I mean? Like, I think he had like 6 days of testing. Of course, you're going to be dialed in when it is, but I didn't think he did too bad there for a rookie. But like, there's something then going on with Augusto Fernandez. Like, he's at race test rider pace.
Oh, so, yeah, something.
So something is off there. Is there anyone else that really surprised me?
Acosta, is it me? Maybe it's me. Like when Martin goes out, he looks like he's going fast. He's doing a hot lap. You could see it. He's jumping on the bike. He's going a little low. All right. Pedro Acosta never seems like he's going that hard or that fast. It always seems like, you know.
But isn't that a good thing?
He's not going. It looks like he's going the same speed all the time. Like
that's a good thing, right? Because that means that he's not tearing the shit out of the tires. He's not fucking spitting it up out of control. Now, look, he is getting the spin on, but he's kind of, how would I say, controlled aggression. Do you know what I mean? That he's getting the bike to do the work, rather than him having to do the work. And you know, if you look at like even Martin Marquez, the way Marquez used to ride the Honda, like he used to physically drag that fucking thing around, right?
Yeah, and it looked fast. I mean, he looked like he was busting his hump.
But yeah, but people that normally would look like they're going fast aren't really going that fast. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like I was impressed with him. I must admit, I thought he did pretty good on the Testa Costa. I thought, you know, he was up towards the top 10. I think it was like 12th. So it wasn't a bad showing from him, if I'm honest.
And we got to get you a Ducati.
You got to give me a Ducati.
You know, all the emissions monsters coming in our door now.
Who?
The emissions monster.
You
know, that's why the R1, they're pushing the R1 out for the emissions.
One fucking, I'm telling you now, if the fucking EPA were to come and take the fucking emissions from the back of my bike, I'd be well fucked. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yes.
I have a BMC straight through race filter, and then I have a full titanium Acura race can or manifolds and can on the R6. So yeah, she burps flame.
Mm-hmm.
Just at the little blip of the throttle.
Oh yeah.
So just proper bike.
Yeah.
So none of this stupid shit. But yeah, the end of the R1 in Europe is coming. Now it is just for Europe, and they will be allowed to sell the race bikes, Yamaha R1s and R6s, etc. in
and it's
Europe.
getting replaced by the R9.
But I have to admit, right, I do commend Yamaha on saying, okay, if we're not allowed to fucking sell it because of emissions, fine, we fucking won't sell it. Rather than putting a big stupid fart can that's like fucking.
I think
like, it's 20 pounds.
Look at the fart can on the fucking Aprilia. The Aprilia. Look at the fart can on the Suzuki.
Right.
The GSXR. Like the Suzuki one was fucking massive, and it was like,
oh my God, yes.
You got to remember that they have a catalytic converter hidden underneath the motor, and that's the second muffler on the side of the bike that's still that big. I mean, they're running it through two freaking mufflers already.
The BMW has that too.
Yeah, but that was on my R6 in 2008 as well. It had an underbelly muffler.
They keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, they added the second muffler back in 2006, and now they've gotten to the point where what are you supposed to do? I mean,
and they weld them on. They don't have it so you can't get them off. They weld the fucking things on.
You can't chop it. Yeah, you got to take the whole thing out.
Yeah, take the whole thing out.
So the dealers here are like, Joe, they run the deal then, like, so you buy your bike with a free acro.
BMW.
Yeah. No, majority of them like to know, or like you get an Arrow exhaust on it, because like people know. Well, things here, like again, Ireland would be quite a biker place. Do you know what I mean? So, like, how would I say? I won't say there's no fanboys, but there's a lot of real bikers out there. You know, yes, they love their brands and this, that, and the other, but they know what they're buying in the way of, you know. Very rare you'd meet a fella sitting on the ditch and he has a brand new Panigale, you know, and he's not into bikes in the way that knows what he's talking about. You know, okay, there's some fellas that talk shit, but you know, you don't get like, I was doing 190 miles an hour on my 600. Like, there's none of that shit.
We got those here. We have those, a lot of them.
Yeah. We wouldn't really have that here. Do you know what I mean? And if we did, they'd be well fucking slapped. So it's kind of good. But look, like I think it's good that the Yamaha are saying, right, if we can't sell it the way we want to sell it, then we won't fucking sell it. Do you know what I mean?
I think sales are down too.
The Euro bikes are taking up. People are going over to the Euro bikes because they, like I said, they win all the comparisons for the past 16 years straight, right?
Yeah,
and money's the same now too, so it's not like, except for the Ducati. Ducati costs a fortune, right?
But the Ducatis are fucking ridiculous. 36 grand euro for a fucking standard.
The CBR, that RRR is 34.
Yeah, but that's an RRR, right?
Yeah, but
Even
you're
though
talking
we're
about
not,
apples, you know what I mean?
but no,
Like,
but
why
we're not. We're talking the standard fucking Ducati, with nothing is 36 grand.
Now he must have saw you coming. He must have greased up because that was unbelievable.
No, I have the price list for them all. Like, I think
They ain't even close to that here. Not even freaking close.
Inflation too. I don't know.
I bought mine. I bought mine for 23.
the standard V4R 63,000.
I bought mine for 23, and that was a V4S.
Yeah, the V4S is 36 grand.
Yeah, you guys, if they really see, they hate you. I don't know. Some Italians and Ireland, you know, Irish don't like you.
The R1M is 28, which is not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Right, the R1 standard is 24, so there's only 4 grand difference in the R between the standard. The RSV is 27.
Well, the European sales are having record sales every year, and the Japanese are having sales drops. So
yeah, look,
it's not that important to them. They're fighting with China for the bread and butter bikes.
But okay, in the town where I live, right, there is a BMW dealer and a Honda dealer,
okay.
Right? And I would have to say, I probably see more Suzukis. I don't see any KTMs. I don't see any Ducatis.
No.
I would see the rare old school Aprilia. I wouldn't see. And even then going to a bike event. So like I was at the Northwest last year.
90% go somewhere else to get a bike.
90% of what I saw at Northwest was Honda, Suzuki, Yamaha. And newish ones. Like you'd have the rare Ducati, you might have an odd MV. You would have then kind of like
how old is that? Their bikes are from like the 2000s, right? Usually, whatever Honda, Yamaha you're saying, they're not.
No, man, not at the Northwest 200.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is someone coming up in a fucking 2000 fucking Honda? No, majority of bikes would be fucking like that's like it's like 150,000 people are at that event, bikers.
But what's the years? What kind of bike year?
They'd be quite new. Majority would be newish.
Newish, like, really? Okay.
Yeah. But you see, like that event now would pull England maybe into France and Germany across into Northern Ireland. You know, so you would see quite a few touring bikes, obviously due to that. But like a lot of the fellas that would come up or travel from far distances would have the van and then the bike in the back of the van. Do you know what I mean? And then go and ride it around the town.
Oh, really?
Riding.
Why touring bikes? I didn't think they had touring bikes in Europe. I didn't think they didn't have. I thought the Goldwing was more or less an American bike.
Yeah, but that's not the only type of touring bike, Jake. So you have a pan-European Honda. She's 1100. You have a lot of BMWs.
They're sports tours, Jake.
Oh, yeah. Like I say, I'm trying to think of was the last time.
You're in the States. Yeah. So it's not like if at one of those events now, if we saw someone with a Goldwing, we'd probably laugh at them. Do you know what I mean? What are you fucking doing? Do you know what I mean? What are you doing driving a fucking caravan for? Do you know what I mean? Like, because you see the Goldwings with the fucking trailers, and you're like, oh man, will you fuck up? Please.
Yeah, they do that here.
A Goldwing with a Goldwing with a trailer.
Yeah, it's very common.
Really? Isn't that kind of defeat the whole purpose of having a touring bike?
No, because the bike still leads. Huh? You know, as you said, the bike still leads. You know, just the trailer doesn't.
I was like,
yeah, tow around the back of it.
I was surprised. I rode to the Daytona, right? And I actually took a touring scooter, right? Comfortable as hell. You could ride over a body. You couldn't tell. It was that squishy, you know? But shitty handling, but it was squishy. I get there, and all these people have these bikes, these Harleys, and they're all on trailers. You know, I'm like, oh, you're such a hardened rider, you toured it, you put it behind a pickup truck, for God's sake, you know.
That's quite that's quite common though, and sensible for the Northwest 200. Because what's the first thing that you're going to do after racing finishes? CB? What would you? You're going to fucking go ride. I want to ride the fucking circuit. Yeah, well, you're, as Casey Stoner once said, your ambition often outweighs your skill set. Or your ambition outweighs your talent. And you end up in the ditch, and then you're fucking walking home from Northern Ireland. Whereas, you have your van, you fuck your crash bike into the back of the van,
I gotta check Moto America, but they used to the AMA had 2 races in a day, right?
Yeah.
Leg 1, leg 2. Now between that anybody could come up and sign a waiver, and you could jump on the track for about 10 laps. That was a blast.
Sounds very fucking stupid, isn't it?
No, it's a fan parade lap, and they got about a dozen CHP officers out there as well. And you're not
when I went out there, we went out balls to the wall. I'm telling you, I had people. I got pissed off because my back hurt. All of a sudden, and I was like, man, because I was looking forward to doing it. I took a Bergman 650 scooter, weighed 600 pounds because of all the shit on it, and they're heavy to begin with. I was skidding both wheels going through every single corner. People would pat me on the back when I came in. They're like, I thought you were going to crash every lap. There's lines everywhere. And I tore the tires, new tires before I left, gone. Just wore down to the threads. 10 laps. It wasn't even that.
Look, it would be a class thing to do, but like that wouldn't happen in fucking BSB or fucking whatever, because there's quite simply, like, I don't know if you've ever watched B2B or BSB in a whole day, right? But the racing starts at 10 o'clock and it doesn't finish till 4 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? And there's fucking races every 40 minutes or whatever, maybe 20 minutes between races. So there's no time to get anyone on track. Do you know what I mean? But some of the tracks like, if you ever get the chance to ride Mallory Park, lads, that is a fucking race circuit. Or Cadwell. Is it Cadwell? Cadwell. It's one where the mountain is. So if you imagine it, you come out of a 90-degree right-hander, but you come up over a mountain. But when you come up over the mountain, you actually fly.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And it's
so better man than me.
Yeah, but there's it's the width of a main road, as in like one lane main road. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really tight. Like, well, say maybe of a 2-lane road. But like they're going through corners there, maybe like 160, 170 mile an hour, and there's 20 of them. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, and then there's the ditch. Do you know what I mean? That's the luck to you. But and I enjoy the BSB because it is road bikes that you can buy, but very little tinkering with. You can do certain things with it, and put like fart can and whatever.
They get some nice trick bits on the suspension too.
They do, yeah, but they're like, so for example, if you were to run an R1M, you have to take off all the electronic suspension on it and the rider aid. So it's your, like, in the wet, how those boys
control, no ABS,
how they run it,
suspension. It's good.
How would you do that? That must be a pain in the ass, though, man.
That's called skill.
No. So, just setting the bike up. I mean, like, it's already on the bike when you pull it out of the showroom.
No. 9 times out of 10, you can get a Yamaha built that's not, unless you're going into the stock classes. So, like, you go to a super stock class, they can use some of the electronics in it in the super stock class because the bike comes with that. Whereas the super bike class, like, so for example, you can go to GYT or whatever, and you can buy a British Superbike spec Yamaha R1 for way less than what it would actually cost you to build a bit, and you can choose your thing. But they have a really good, simple way of governing things as well. They use a dyno. That's it.
I thought you were saying that there's stock class. You can't run, traction control or anything. I'm like, shit, it's already. I think you can run a certain amount, but I don't think you can run
say, an advanced amount like they would in World Supers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you would see like a World Superbike rider coming back to MotoGP or coming back to BSB will struggle for a while, especially with how to control the bike because they're fucking vicious. Like they're absolutely vicious. And to see them, and like this is where I will go with the thing is like in BSB the rider is the 70% now.
Yeah.
In the rain, the rider is 90%. Do you know what I mean? It's like that conversation between his head, his wrist, and his arse. That is like a millisecond by millisecond conversation, right? And I just think that kind of pure racing, then different manufacturers all have their strengths and weaknesses, all in and around the same horsepower and whatever. Like you will see, okay, the Ducati still has a speed in the straight line versus a Kawasaki or whatever it is. But then the Kawasaki would have better cornering and it would fucking catching because the tracks are so tight. It just creates a better racing experience.
Yeah, I mean,
closer racing, do you know? So, but it's
BSB hardly has any straights for God's sake. It looks like sometimes.
Yeah, but it's just kind of funny then when you go to the roads, you know, and you look at the roads, for instance, right? You don't see a Ducati anywhere on the roads. You see it in the Northwest with Glen Irwin last year.
Uh-huh.
But like you go to the Isle of Man, no Ducati. You know, it was anything could win there. Anything. Honda could win there, the fucking BMW, Suzuki even.
I think Honda showed up with an RSV or with a RSV GT bike, and I think someone showed up with a Ducati MotoGP bike at one of the events too, but they their time sucked. It's not faster on the mountain.
Yeah, Michael Rutter used to run Michael Rutter used to run the RCV, and so did he is a New Zealand guy. I can see his name. He has a beard and whatever. I can't remember his name. Bruce Anstey. Yeah. Bang on there. And he used to ride that RCV. 13 grand a lap is what it cost.
Oh, man.
Oh, I was going to buy the Honda RCV 213V, the replica.
Yeah.
And then it went from, it was supposed to be $45,000. Then it went from $45,000 to like $80,000, right? But that was the 100 horsepower motor. Then to go to 120 horsepower or 180 horsepower, it ended up being like $180,000.
It was 120,000 once you got the kit on it. Yeah.
I know. I was like, you guys are joking me. And it didn't, they say it didn't handle that one. Yeah.
It wasn't even faster than the super bike, but it was a collector's piece.
But now Google to try and buy one.
Yeah, I'll get it.
It was a collector's piece.
That's the best 120 grand you would ever spend in your life. Do you know what I mean? It's just like one of those things because you can't get them you can. There's actually a place in the world that still sells them, a Paget's Honda in the UK.
Yeah.
There's still one or two that he has that are unregistered.
I'll stick in the box.
Yeah, and then obviously he has the Yamaha YZR 500 as well, there, which is a piece of automotive art. But if you ever have a look at Paget's Honda, his workshop, you just walk around and there's bikes just thrown in the corner, just lent up there like it's like fucking $500,000 worth, like an RCV just thrown in the corner. You know what I mean? And it's just like grand. But definitely worth going there. So I suppose, who is the winner? Sprint racing in Qatar and main race. We'll end on this bombshell.
Martin.
Oh, damn it, you took it. I was going to say Martin. Yep.
Martin for both. CB.
I'll go both. I want to say Gian Antonio, but no, Martin.
I'll say Martin and Pecco. You know, for the main race.
I'm writing these down too, lads.
Oh, damn you!
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Martin for both.
Okay, what are you saying, Jake?
I'm saying Martin for the sprint and Pecco for the main.
Okay. Okay.
What did I do now?
Oh, you took my choices.
No,
I just don't want to copy you.
I really should stick to my guns and pick. I should pick Marquez.
I was going to say you can go Marquez, man. That's not too far out there.
I already made it. So, can I change it?
No, because I've it written down.
All right, I'll go with him next race. I should really stick to my guns, but anyhow.
Fucking traitor.
I just think, it just didn't hit me. It just didn't come to my head. Christ, I'm the first one to have the Marquez shirt.
You loser.
Can't
And it was the wrong color.
make you out in a woman prison with a carton of cigarettes.
Yeah. Rick S.
I predict Ducati 1, 2, 3. Both races.
Which ones?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Martin for the sprint and Bagnaia in the main.
Man, you not going Marquez?
Oh, I can't. I really don't think Marquez is getting on it as well as he would like. I think he's gonna be back closer to 10th, honestly.
Oof, that's rough.
Yeah.
Let's have a side one. Let's put another prediction. Let's have where's Marquez gonna finish?
Okay.
I'll take 8th.
I take 5th or 4th.
I want to say 4th.
Are you 5th or are you 4th?
No, I'm 4th.
You're
I go
4th.
5th. I go 5th.
Okay, 5th. I'm going to say crash.
Oh man!
And we're talking main race here, yeah?
Yeah.
Or sprint. Okay. Which one? Main race. Okay.
Man,
I'm going to say Binder and Digi.
Whoa, he's going way out there.
Well, look, I could be like sheep and follow year ones. Or
Hey, you said that about Ray in the Superbike race too.
I did, didn't I? Yeah. So
Yeah,
I just fucking jinxed them, haven't I?
Jinxed the shit out of him. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
you
probably
only-
Marquez will win now because I thought he's going to crash. So
You only take those long shots when you get the odds, Mac. This is straight odds, one pick, man.
yeah, but I don't want to be the same as everyone else.
That's fair.
The other thing, actually, I must say to Brent Jenkins, or Brett, not Brent, Brett Jenkins, did email me some amazing pictures from Phillip Island this weekend. And obviously, we all remember the Go Show passed away, but they had a stand there with some of his bikes. So the Yamaha, the Kawasaki, I think a Honda as well. Some really, really nice pictures. So thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it. But it was actually class to see it. And I love, I love some of the old school World Superbikes. Do you know what I mean? How big and blocky they fucking were. And,
Those
you know,
things,
it was
what
like-
years?
yeah,
The CB 750s and those.
yeah, like the Ninja 750
Wow,
and
we were all
the
back.
original R1, I think it is. Yeah, why is it FR1? So some brilliant, beautiful machinery. So thanks, Brett, for sending those on. It's class. I'll share them with the lads there later. But on that bombshell, a 2-hour podcast, which has been amazing, lads. Thank you so much, and we'll definitely try and arrange it again sometime, maybe the week after the first race. The first race, lads. It only clicked with me. The first race is on in 2 weeks' time, and I'm actually away in
Oh shit!
Wolverhampton with my young fella. So I'll be there for Friday. But Saturday and Sunday the videos will be late after the race.
These things happen.
Unfortunately. Yes, making memories always trumps everything else, doesn't it? So yeah, but look, we will definitely do another podcast soon, the four of us, and we'll do something maybe after the first race once we can have a laugh. And I'll celebrate Binder and Digi winning the race, Marquez crashing, and I'll just be like, I should do the fucking lotto this week. Anyway, on that bombshell, we'll head away. Thank you very much, everyone.
Take care, folks.